thing is not super physical, delicate fingers.
TJ Watt getting ready for Monday Night Football. He's been so thankful to return to the Steelers team after dealing with the collapsed lung. TJ Watt gonna do his best against CJ Stroud and company. And then on the other side, this Texans defense looking to do everything they can against Aaron Rodgers. They noted just how surgical he can be, especially when given time to throw. So Will Anderson Jr. and company, Danielle Hunter, gonna try to get to Rodgers, make him uncomfortable. And Will Anderson Jr. is a guy that loves the idea of winning a championship. That's his goal. He doesn't sit there much and talk about individual awards. But either way, something really special this week happened for Will Anderson Jr. when he found out that he would be an all-pro first-teamer.
Dang, that's crazy. Oh.
I know it means a lot too, man. I know it does.
That's crazy, bro. If this was an interview, what the freak?
So he actually thought he was going to be talking to me ahead of this game. We ended up talking right after this. They surprised him. It was a goal of his. He ended up realizing that goal. But he talked a lot about the individual work he's done this season to get his game even better. He said in the offseason, DeMeco Ryans actually challenged him to get more extension at the top of his rush, to really get to the quarterback more. He put the work in. He's now been rewarded. But again, he wants to do more, and it starts with tonight. We'll see what this Texans defense can do against this team that has had so much experience. Aaron Rodgers is a guy that knows this spot all too well, Dan. It gives you pause when you think about just saying, everyone's kind of saying, like, the Texans are just going to win this game. Yeah. Give us something that could help decide the game tonight.
There's a way for Pittsburgh. One, I think this is what this is going to factor. I absolutely do. Aaron's going to be comfortable in it, and it's whipping and it's cold. I think, number one, Pittsburgh has to get 10 points off 2 turnovers. They can't just get 2 turnovers. You got to get points off them. Number 2, you got to bank on Houston missing a field goal of some capacity. 3, you got to get +2 on 4th downs. And then I think the yards after the catch have to be huge. Houston's great defensively, and they're great tackling. That's the strength of Pittsburgh's offense. It's got to be the strength of offense tonight. If they can do that, there is a way.
Small sample size, but Arthur Smith has had a lot of success against DeMeco Ryans' defenses. They played 3 times. Arthur Smith's Falcons offenses moved the ball up and down against the 49ers. And a couple years ago, the Falcons beat the Texans in a game where a very similar deal kind of happened. So I look at that. Then I look at this offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw Kansas City's offensive line get pushed around by these guys. We saw Buffalo's. I think Pittsburgh's offensive line has very quietly had a really good second half of the season. And you look at names like Zach Frazier, and you look at guys like Dylan Cook, who's been stepping up. And then, of course, you have the big boys like Fatanu, who's been great all season. I think they can hang. And the question is, third and fourth quarter, can they hang long enough against the Will Anderson and Danielle Hunters?
Stopping the Steelers' offense always comes down to, can you limit yards after catch? Yep. Stopping the Texans' offense always comes down to, can you defend in breakers? That's it. I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to mention it again. If the Steelers live in single high, they will get carved up. If they're in single high the majority of this game, Houston will dice them up on those in breakers, crossers, digs.
Yeah, and if you watch Terrell Austin, there was a point in this season, if you go back to the Miami game, who has a very similar offense in ways where Tua Tagovailoa wanted to pass the football. We did see more too high, and so maybe we'll see some of that tonight, which means you're going to have to find out a way to stop Marks and Jordan, who have been playing well recently. It's also going to take for DK Metcalf to do something special, in my opinion. They have to win in between the numbers. We saw Aaron Rodgers be more willing to do that late in the game against the Baltimore Ravens, and then DK Metcalf has to make a play outside of the numbers, one-on-one with physicality against who I think is the best cornerback duo in all of football.
Huge to get DK Metcalf back for this Steelers offense. And Aaron Rodgers, as we see him arriving here at Acrisure Stadium, it's interesting. If they don't win this game, could this be his last
guy right there,
game?
Sutcliffe.
Spending time with Sutcliffe, his buddy. He's got the shades on and ready to go. Of course, Rodgers not thinking about anything except winning tonight, but could be an incredible scene either way. That's what we expect. And let's pick this one, okay? The desk is going to be split here, I believe. Dan, you go first. Who you taking and why?
The body of work, Houston's been one of the best teams in football. I think Houston's an AFC championship contending football team. Defense travels. CJ's been here. I'm taking Houston.
Yeah, listen, I think all of those things matter, but also Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 11-0 at home on Monday Night Football. From what I've heard, he was excited when he got the opportunity to host a Monday Night Football game in the playoffs. And he's been in this position, but he also knows how important it is after a decade to get a playoff win.
Taking Houston, the best unit on the field is their defense. They have no weaknesses, quite frankly.
Steelers-Patriots. It's an old classic battle. We'll see you next week.
Woo, I love that. All right, call it, Peter. Continue the coverage right here on ESPN. So you had a chance to talk to DK Metcalf this week. Of course, he's going to return from that 2-game suspension. What was last week like for him watching his team take on the Ravens?
Yeah, just listening to him tell it, Laura. DK said that he watched last week's must-win game at home all by himself. And he said he rode a roller coaster of emotions in those last 2 minutes, just like every other Steelers fan. He said when Calvin Austin scored the go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute to go, he was so excited, he jumped in his car and headed for the stadium to celebrate with his teammates, thinking that the game was over. But just minutes later, the Ravens were in field goal range, and Metcalf said he just stopped his car in the middle of the road and braced himself for what he thought would be the game-stealing kick. He was too nervous, though, to actually watch it. So he said he just held his phone to his chest and waited. And when DK looked at his phone again, he saw that Tyler Loop had missed. He was then back on top of the world, of course, and continued here towards Acrisure Stadium to celebrate. But after all that, he never made it to the locker room because he got stuck in stadium traffic. Welcome to being a fan, I guess. He will be in the lineup tonight, though, and after 2 weeks off because of his suspension, DK says he feels great. Mike Tomlin said Metcalf had a really good week in practice, and he looks fresh and ready to go. And speaking of who's looking fresh, RC down here on the grass with me. I appreciate it.
Well, now I know I've really made it, though. If I get to hang out with you, then I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right.
I'm honored. I'm honored that you're down here. But while I have you, we know what the Texans secondary can do. What kind of impact does DK Metcalf have to have in order for the Steelers offense to have success tonight?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is they have to remember what everybody was able to do while DK was on suspension. And then that allows DK Metcalf in matchups with Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter to win 2 or 3 50-50 combat catches ball based on the physicality that he possesses. But now with Calvin Austin and Pat Freiermuth, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Warren, all being a part of what they do offensively, I think that allows DK Metcalf to get more opportunities in one-on-one situations. And you know that the Houston Texans, with those Pro Bowl caliber players on the back end, are going to give DK opportunities one-on-one, and Aaron will find him.
Yeah, he told me it's all about physicality. He said everything else goes out the window. We'll find out who's the better receiver or the better DB.
Absolutely.
Hey, I got to tell you something, Marcy. You're going to come back on this set, but Marcus is mad at you because you got the Lisa assignment. And
Marcus never did this. Actually, I'm the first and only person, Swag. Me and Miss Lisa.
Anytime, Swag. Come on down.
Oh, Lisa, you're the best. We'll see you tonight on the broadcast, of course. Let's continue on with a little bit more. And, Swag, I'm going to have to try to get you hyped up again because you are mad.
Come on,
I don't blame
cheer
you.
up.
Why are you pouting? Stop pouting. You big baby.
He wanted that.
You know I love you. You know I love you, Marcus.
I'm going to tell TA you said Miss Lisa your best friend.
You can have multiple.
We got a best friend off, okay? How about Justin Herbert and the